Sir Martin Sorrell's keynote was the one that everyone wanted to get to today. I've managed to catch up with him just before he's going on to talk. So can you tell me, what is everyone going to hear today?
Well, we're going to try and talk a little bit about the global view, which, as you said to me a few minutes ago, was a difficult thing to do in 20 minutes. We're going to solve all the world's problems in 20 minutes, and Ray's questioning will certainly solve them. But on a serious note, we've identified sort of 10 key things that we see going on in the world. We're going to talk a little bit about what we do at WPP at the holding company level in terms of encouraging creativity and some approaches that we do, and a little bit of how we see the world. The world is slow growth, very little inflation, and therefore very little pricing power, and therefore a focus on cost. So the biggest issue, I mean, if you said to me, answered my favorite question is what keeps you awake at night, or when you wake up in the morning, what do you worry about? The one thing that I really worry about is clients focus on the short term, and as a result, they're not investing in innovation and indeed in branding for the future. So we do brand valuation, and we've done it for the last 11 years with the Financial Times. We do it regionally, India, Indonesia, Latin America, lots of other places. But we do a global survey every year. And if you and I invested in the top 10 in that survey for the last 10 years, our portfolio would be up by about 120%. If we invested in the S&P 500, which is the 500 largest listed companies, we'd only be up 75%. And if we invested in the MSCI index, which is the world index, we'd only be up 30%. So you do 4 times better than the world index if you invested in the top 10 leading branding or branded companies. And that clearly demonstrates that those companies that invest in innovation and invest in brand win in the long term. That is the key issue. So branding, innovation, investment, and branding works. If you fail to do that, you might have short-term success, but you're not guaranteed for long-term success.
Monetization seems to be the hot topic.
For media owners, yes.
And for ad blocking being a potential concern.
Well, ad blocking and fraud, bot fraud. And there was a survey on the front page of the Financial Times, again, getting good mentions, of the Financial Times, which said that the proportion of ads watched by robots was far greater than Google had indicated. So there's worries about fraud, there's worries about fraudulent sites, and there's worries about ad blocking. On ad blocking, clearly there's some regulatory things that could happen, unlikely but possible. Having said that, we've seen in some jurisdictions, for example in Spain, where ad blocking has been taken out, and as a result there's been a reduction in views, and Google and Facebook have withdrawn, and publishers have suffered as a result. So that's one way of dealing with it, unlikely to happen. The biggest thing is that we have to make advertising more relevant and contextual. So if I'm on a site, if I'm playing a video game and a totally irrelevant advertisement pops up, I get annoyed just like everybody else.
So is the future bright?
Well, no, the future is, it's tough. I mean, I would like to be optimistic. I stand here with our stock at an all-time high, our market capitalization at an all-time high, and we've gone from, £1 billion to 22 billion pounds in 31 years. It's a long time, but it hasn't been upward all the time. It's been up and down. It's a tough environment. In our last set of figures for the first 6 months of this year, which we did very well, we subheaded it grinding it out, and it is a grind. And I come back to the fundamental point, which is GDP growth is about 3.5%, 4% next year, but these are early estimates and they may come down. Inflation is non-existent, very little pricing power, and as a result, clients are looking very carefully at their cost base. I think that's looking at the problem through the wrong end of the telescope. What they should be looking at is how do they grow their top line. They spend more in trade promotion and incentives and slotting allowances and trying to get into the retail trade than they spend above the line on advertising and marketing.
A lot to unpack today.
Yeah, a lot, yes.
Well, have a great session.
Thank you
it
very
really
much.
has been
Thank you,
super
Hannah.
talking
Thank
to
you.
you,
Thank you.
and enjoy IBC.
Thank you, I will do.
Thank you.